But because of the smell in that unit, my property manager and really the maintenance people said we just wanted to board it up to allow for more aeration and for it to be able to be aired out. And I thought that was a heck of a good reason. And then after we took the plyboard off and I was able to walk in, I completely agreed with their assessment and their desire and the decision to leave the plyboard on because it smelled terrible.
Welcome. This is the Hot Real Estate Investing Podcast, a podcast dedicated to helping others through real estate investing. Our hosts interview guests from all aspects of real estate investing who generously share valuable experiences and advice. Whether you're starting out or an experienced investor, this is the show for you.
Hello, and how's it going? My name is Travis Shelton, and welcome to the Hot Real Estate Investing Podcast, where we focus on the mindset, motivation, and methodologies of successful real estate investors. And today I'm going to provide you guys an update because I finally saw the 6 units that I bought in South Carolina. So imagine you bought a 6-unit property 2,000 miles away, sight unseen. What possibly could go wrong? Today, we're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly for my first property inspection at my South Carolina sixplex. We're going to talk about the lessons learned to be able to help all investors in their real estate investing, and including, why one of my tenants took their door with them when they left. Let's start with the good. All right. There's a ton of good, right? About 90% of what I experienced when I went to South Carolina was good. All right. So the town, number one, like it's a cute little coastal town. I mean, it's really, really on the river. They've got a nice little river walk there. And Georgetown, I really love the town. I actually loved it a little bit more than Conway, another city I was looking to invest previously last year. The location of the actual asset I really liked. It is right off really the freeway and what everything's going through. So it is what I would traditionally not like on a major street, but because of the small town and just this particular asset, I actually love that it's on that major street because it's really great for marketing. It's easy to access. People see it. So I think it'll actually really help renting there because it is right on the street, and we're going to be able to. It's already shown that people are recognizing it, and I think once I get a sign up and we do some other things to the property, it's going to look really sharp. All right. My property manager, Tiffany, she's been amazing. Okay. She's kept me up to date. She was there to meet me. She walked it with me. She's been providing me regular route updates. And she's also just tenacious. She gets stuff done. She deals with so much. And I'm so appreciative of having a great property manager. The paint we picked out, we had this nice blue, kind of Carolina blue paint that we picked out. It was kind of a brown color, and then we did accents with white and the doors with a dark navy blue. We've had a ton of compliments of how great it looks from the community, from the people that actually did it. It really brightened it up. And really the town has been able to notice just the difference from what it looked like to what it is today. So really excited and happy with the way the color turned out and the work that has been done to the property to date. So even though we'll talk about one of the bad things and that Mr. Moneybags or the checkbook came and I had to make a lot of payments when I was there, I was very pleased with the color and a lot of the work that was done on the property. All right. We talked about the doors. We also included a lot of different hardware, new lighting in the bathrooms, new lighting outside, new numbers on the doors, just some of those little things to really just make aesthetically the outside really pleasing. And it just looked really sharp. So I was really happy with really almost every product we had bought, and every decision we made to date has been really, really good. So really loved because the first time I was able to walk the units, the size of the units really nice. A lot of times, especially out here in Phoenix, unit sizes can be 400, 500, 600 square feet for some of these 2 bedrooms and 1 bedrooms. And these were, 800, 900 square feet, and you could really fill the room. The room sizes were good for the 2 bedrooms. The living area was good and just everything was really I think above my expectations, which was really, really awesome. The initial cleanup was really good. We had a dumpster, almost two dumpsters, if I could say or speak correctly today, full of just what we had already gutted out, what we tore out, all the trash, all the stuff around the property that had been cleaned up. So you could tell there was a tremendous amount of work that had gone into the project, and I was really happy with a lot that had already gone on. Okay. And really the work done just in general, right? 90% of it. There were a couple of things I have attention to detail. I'm a pharmacist by training. I'm very specific. There were things like there were some old bricks in the backyard, and I was like, hey, like this can be thrown through our brand new windows. Like these need to be removed, right? So little things like that I was just maybe not 100% happy with, but 90% overall, extremely the good was over 90%. Really, really happy with a lot of the things that turned out. So now let's get to the fun part. Okay, what was bad? And if I have to put a number on this, I'd say about 9%. Okay, so about 90% good, 9% bad. All right. And I'm cheap. I'm frugal. I don't know how you want to call what you want to call me, but when I had to come and start writing some big checks for finishing up all the painting and all the work that had been done, that always hurts the heart a little bit, right? But it was all stuff that I had budgeted in, so it wasn't too bad. One of the unexpected things that we found out, one of the bad things was the ACs. And although the AC units were only about 5 years old, some of the wiring wasn't maybe up to code or wasn't replaced when they installed the new units. And so I did have an AC company out there that another one of the goods was found a great AC company. They went out there and they're actually having to rewire. I'm going to have them rewire everything to get everything up to code and up to standards, because that's just how I like to deal with my properties. I want them best in class. I want them to be really the most preferred living destination in that town if I can, and for that price. And so we took care of those ACs now before it gets hot, before anything potentially could go bad. And so that was kind of one of the bads, because it was an unexpected cost to be able to have to wire these things. It was a little bit more expensive than I would have liked to have, but it was pretty much the cost of one new AC unit, which when you have 6 units and they're all 5 years old, knock on wood, but if that's the worst thing that's going to happen, I'm really happy with that situation. Okay. The water and the utility company, definitely still kind of one of those situations that just small town, a little frustrating. We had a tenant move out, the tenant that took his door. And I'll tell you that story in a second. But the tenant that took his door, we're still waiting for that water to be turned on. Not sure why it wasn't. They told me that, hey, as soon as a tenant moves out, it'll automatically go back into the property manager or my account, and it won't ever be turned off. Well, the water got turned off. So not sure. I've made phone calls, still waiting to confirm that it's been turned on since I left. But again, one of the bads, just dealing with some small town stuff. You got to deal with small town stuff. You just have to kind of get over it and be patient. What else? The sign at the road. I made a post about this, but basically I really wanted to be able to put this really nice sign on the road. When I went to the sign company, they gave me some dimensions that the town requests. But as I was driving through town, almost no sign in the whole county or city had a sign that was 15 feet from their property line. So I'm not really sure where I'm going to go with this yet, but that 15 feet would have been inside where I'm planning to put my fence. So I could wait to put the nice sign and maybe just put it on my fence, but still trying to figure out more, try to figure out what I can do as far as advertising for Cooper Commons and be able to put a sign out there, because I know, again, on that major thoroughfare, I'm going to be able to get a lot of people looking at that sign, and hopefully a lot of potential tenants in the future by just having a nice sign out there, because aesthetically the property looks so good from the outside. The driveway and the parking, definitely I'm going to need to seal and stripe that at some point. It's dirty, so I do have a plan with my landscaper, so that's maybe a little bit of the bad, just to clean it up over the next couple weeks, months, so that way when we are ready, we'll go ahead and stripe and seal that again, just so that, again, I want this thing to look nice, look sharp for tenants, look good for everyone moving in. Also identified 2 places we can put handicap parking, and we'll plan to be able to do that, just again to make this property really best in class out there in South Carolina. Again, and another one of the bads that we found, again, this is that we've been doing a lot over the last 2 months, right? Is we had some bushes in the front of the unit. I wanted those removed. We removed them. Well, some just mulch got put down, and what we didn't really recognize originally was there's no gutters, and so from the roof, it would basically just go straight down, hit that mulch, and make that mulch come out of all those flower beds and everything. Well, sure enough, when I was there, it rained really bad. The mulch had just been placed down, and we got the example of exactly what would happen with that mulch coming out of those flower beds. So, how to make a plan, pivoted, have a good landscaper out there that recommended us just putting some nice, bigger quarter river rocks in there. I actually think it's going to look better with the river rock in there. So excited to make that change, but costs a little bit of money to be able to now have to remove and change where that mulch and in those flower beds and be able to put it in the back. But we have a plan in place because actually in the back we had a place that some of that rain was doing some stuff to the surface into the dirt, and so we're able to actually put that dirt from the front to the back and kind of build that area up. And so although maybe it's going to cost me a little bit more in labor, we're going to ultimately solve two problems because I was out there and we saw kind of what happened when it rained. So that was a little good with a little bad. All right, so what's next? We really want to start this property from the outside in, making it look really aesthetically pleasing. I think we've done that with the paint, with the contrast in the white and the dark navy, and people are noticing it. Even a couple of people in town, like the sign shop, they had noticed it. The people that did the work, they said they had people coming by saying how nice the property looks. So I just think, we're really going to hopefully make a change in this little community to be able to show what really good property management and owners can do, and hopefully make a really nice, safe, affordable housing for work class housing. Okay, so what's next? Like, so what's ugly? Okay, if 90% was good, 9% was bad, we have 1% that was ugly. And here's the story you guys have been waiting for. All right, so one of the tenants we had a couple holdover tenants. We had two really. So one of the tenants, we knew immediately we were going to get out. This guy wouldn't let us go into the property when we inspected it. We knew there were going to be issues. It smelt so bad that really no one wanted to go in the property. And he informed my property manager when she gave him notice, 30-day notice, that he was going to take the front door. And he wasn't joking. He took the front door. And I guess the story is it had a really bad front door. All the doors were really bad on the front, so we replaced them all. Another story. But the front door is broken. I guess, there was a hole at the bottom of it. So he put his own door on. Now, the door he put on didn't match, was terrible door anyway. So I really don't care that he moved the door. But when he left, he took the door. And so we had, just some plyboard up there. And some of the pictures I've shared on social, you'll see the plyboard in the background. And so that was kind of frustrating when I showed up. And I was like, hey, we've changed out like 4 or 5 out of the 6 doors. Why wasn't that one of the first ones we put a new door on? And lo and behold, there was a reason. So always ask the question, don't just assume. But because of the smell in that unit, my property manager and really the maintenance people said we just wanted to board it up to allow for more aeration and for it to be able to be aired out. And I thought that was a heck of a good reason. And then after we took the plyboard off and I was able to walk in, I completely agreed with their assessment and their desire and the decision to leave the plyboard on because it smelled terrible. And we hadn't yet gutted that property out or taken the carpet out, so it smelled like it probably smelled, but a lot better than when he moved out. We had gotten rid of everything in there, but we hadn't at least torn out the carpet and everything. So really, really bad smell. Okay. And so, although the tenant took his door, I didn't really care because we put new, nice, hard doors on there that all match and everything. But that smell, man, that was the ugly. Let me tell you. My property manager walked in, her eyes started watering. She was like, I've seen it before. I'm going to walk out. I plan to spend a little bit more time in every unit. That unit I spent a little less time in. But of course, it's getting gutted. We're going to actually utilize that property as kind of a proof of concept to be able to do a full rehab and really see where we can push rents in the property. But that was probably the ugliest thing that we saw, okay, in this situation. The other thing that was probably ugly, in my opinion, was we had a situation where, again, we had all these AC units were relatively new. Well, one of the tenants never put in a filter. Okay. And so they had been running the deal, and normally they can clean the coils out, yada yada. But unfortunately, in one of them, stuff was just caked on. No filter had been in place, so we're actually going to have to change the coils out in the inside of that unit, which is about a $2,000 job. So not happy. That's definitely an ugly finding that I wasn't happy to have to pay, right? But um, always looking at the positive, right? I asked my property manager, how are we going to mitigate this in the future? Like, what systems do you have in place to ensure that tenants are putting new filters on and we're not going to have this sort of situation again? And she had an answer. She said, hey, it's my standard protocol. I do a quarterly inspection, and during those quarterly inspections, we check those air filters. And if they're not got new air filters, then they're charged or they're fined, right? Or we bring it to them and we just add it to the rent. So we went ahead and put new filters on every single one of those units. And then that's the plan going forward. So even sometimes, guys, when something bad happens, right, you got to look at the other side or just fix the problems, whether it be the mulch and the flower bed and making the decision on the river rock, or it was the fact that, we had this really bad tenant that exchanged his door, or it was the fact that this AC situation that we found, and we implemented steps and improvements so that these sorts of things won't happen under our watch and while we have the property. So even though some of these things cost maybe a little bit more money, it really didn't change any of our ultimate CapEx budget or things that we're planning to be able to pursue here in the very near future on this property to continue to enhance it and optimize it for our tenants and for the community. All right. So again, I really hope you guys enjoyed kind of going over what I learned at the first time I visited this property that I just bought in February, right? So we talked a little bit about the good, like the property manager, and really 90% of the things that I encountered there were good. We talked about the bad, about 9%, the AC wiring, the utility company, and we talked about the ugly, the tenant taking his door and the smell inside that unit. But at the end of the day, again, we're going to gut that unit. We're going to really see with a full remodel what we can push rents. So it was all good. So really, in summary, it was 90% good, 9% bad, and only 1% ugly. So I'm extremely happy, really happy with what's happening at that asset, where we're going with that asset, and hopefully by the time you guys hear this podcast, we'll have it almost nearly full. Right now, I have 2 new tenants, and I got 2 more to 3 expected to move in, and then we'll be gutting that one unit. That one will be done probably about 25-30 days, and then we'll see what we can get for that last unit. So what I want you guys to do, like always, or maybe this is the first time you're hearing this podcast, refer it to a friend. That's all I ask, man. This is free. I try to give as much value as possible, but if you found this helpful and you think you know someone else that likes real estate or is investing, I really hope you share this. Tag, give me a rating, whatever you guys want to do out there in social media. Really appreciate you guys listening, and commit to taking action today to move your investing forward. Maybe by buying a property sight unseen. I don't know. Take care and God bless.